Congressman Jamie Raskin is a Democrat of Maryland and sits on the January 6th committee. Congressman, first, let me just ask you about your understanding of what does appear to be considerable momentum, even many months into this, of cooperating witnesses and what's driving it.
It's like a waterfall of truth at this point. I mean, just as there was a dynamic of lies and deception by Donald Trump, starting with the big lie, we have turned that around. And when you have more than 1,000 witnesses coming in and telling you what had happened, it's the tiny handful of people who are either lying or refusing to participate who begin to feel very nervous about the situation, because we're filling in all the details of what took place. So I would agree exactly with the various dynamics that you identified. I would add one more, which is that a number of people out there have seen Trump's loyalists say certain things. For example, I remember when Jared Kushner was asked about the threat of Pat Cipollone to resign, and he said that he essentially chalked that up to whining on his part.
Right.
And that could not have endeared himself to Pat Cipollone, who had not testified yet. And so they're basically seeing the way that there's a tiny group of people circling the wagons around Donald Trump, and they're willing to throw everybody else under the bus, to mix that metaphor.
Yeah, I think it was Jared Kushner said something like they were always threatening to resign over something. I was just focused on the pardons. There are a few people. There's one prominent individual who I just want to play this quote, because there's also this question. I mean, look, I think people have a duty to tell the truth. There's also the authority of the committee, which is a question, and whether people are coming voluntarily or subpoenaed. Mike Pompeo, who was not directly, I think, involved, as far as I know, in the run-up to January 6th, the aftermath, but was, we think, according to reporting, involved in those 25th Amendment discussions. Here's what he had to say about his back and forth with the committee earlier. Take a listen.
Can you confirm that you've been talking with the January 6th committee?
We've had discussions with them about potentially appearing before them, trying to make sure we understand what it is they're asking for. As I always did when I was in service to America, I'm happy to cooperate with things that are fair and transparent and deliver good outcomes for the American people.
So today you're a no?
You mean on testifying?
Yes.
We're trying to figure our way out. I want to make sure the American people get the full story of the things that happened in the Trump administration.
I don't really know what to make of that. How should I understand that answer?
Well, I think that there's a rapid flight away from Donald Trump. I think most people can read the writing on the wall that he's going to end up isolated and shamed and embarrassed, and people don't want to be in his company at that point. So I think more and more of them may want to just establish some kind of objective factual record about where they were in these events. I mean, obviously, everybody's got to think about his or her own reputation when you're in the neighborhood of somebody like Donald Trump.
There are some significant holdouts to subpoenas. So some of them have been referred, some of them have not been referred. And I speak, of course, of colleagues of yours who have been subpoenaed: Kevin McCarthy, Scott Perry, Jim Jordan, Andy Biggs, and Mo Brooks. All of them to varying degrees, both in reporting, sometimes very much in the public record because of things they actually said, involved with, promoting the big lie, involved in meetings around the possible strategy on January 6th to overturn the election. Where is the committee? How are you thinking through the profound sort of constitutional question here about what to do about your own colleagues' noncompliance with a congressional committee subpoena?
Well, again, we're calling on everybody to do his or her civic duty, his or her legal duty, his or her constitutional duty, his or her patriotic duty, and come forward and tell the truth. To the extent that people are still recalcitrant and, refusing the authority of Congress, then we have to consider what different options are available to us. Obviously, we don't want to go on the wild goose chase of a lot of litigation with people. We have little time left, but we are still urging them to come forward and With members of Congress, there's the possibility of going outside. There's also the possibility of staying inside Congress and using the processes that we have available to people who are not living up to their responsibilities.
Final question for you is about news today about a template deal struck, I think, between the Department of Justice and the committee. Now, this has been the source of some conflict, some tension, I think resentment, at least as it's bubbled out in reporting on this, and some blind quotes. A formal path to share investigative material with the DOJ, the chair said today. How important is that?
Well, I think it's important that we have a working relationship, which is an arm's length relationship, obviously, where they're able to request of us the things that they want and the things that they think are necessary. The closer we get to the end of our work, the easier it is for us to do that. But we obviously have been able to tell a pretty comprehensive story to the American people and to Congress, because we've not turned over, facts to other avenues where they could get out.
Interesting. Congressman Jamie Raskin, thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate it.